these technologies to be able to be used effectively to create a modern and effective learning space, they need to fulfill certain criteria, and these criteria are... Hello, Richard and Rebecca. This is Scott Coughlin, student number 113984446, and Literacies for the Future. I'm doing Assessment 3, Part 2, Learning Space Redevelopment. I'm looking here at the Google Plus site now, and it says if I'm interested in redeveloping a learning space, I need to consider some things. And some examples he gave me were like learning space enactment, like what you guys did on the Google Plus site, or defining a learning space. And I'm going for a mix of these two key items. But first of all, we need to define what a learning space is. What does the term learning space mean? Why don't we just use the term classroom instead? As recently as a few decades ago, classrooms were the primary locus of learning in higher education. There were other spaces, such as libraries, streets, workplaces, and cafes, but the most important learning space of all was definitely the classrooms in primary schools, high schools, and lecture halls in university. The post-industrial age is characterized by rapid change. Literacy skills now include critical thought, persuasive expression, and the ability to solve complex scientific and organizational problems. Knowing now means using organized sets of facts to find new information and solve novel problems. In the 1900s, learning largely consisted of memorization, regurgitation, and recalling of set facts. Today, it relies chiefly on understanding, and I believe this is partly due to the emergence of the constructivist theory of learning. And stated simply, this theory holds that learners construct knowledge by understanding new information by building on their current understandings, experiences, and expertise. This contradicts the idea that learning is a transmission of content to a passive learner. Instead, it views learning as an active process. It's always based on the learner's current understanding or intellectual paradigm. Knowledge and understanding is constructed by assimilating the new information into the learner's current knowledge base and background knowledge. Learning spaces are complex and they contain a huge number of variables. One of these variables is technology, which is one of the things that we will be focusing on. When you look around you, almost everything you see could be classified as technology. And technologically itself its purpose is shaped by society. This is done in several ways. The first way is what the original intent of the technology was, what the actual use of the technology is, and the ongoing development of the technology itself. When we are talking about technology, in a learning space we are focusing upon educational technologies. And educational technologies are any technology that has the potential to help either teaching or learning. Churchill, from Teaching Making a Difference, 2nd edition, lists several technologies that are commonly found in the classroom and are used today by teachers to help enhance their learning spaces. These are hardware, which is your interactive whiteboard, your computers, and your printers inside the classroom. Your portable mobile devices. These include mobile phones, laptops, tablets, and digital cameras. Software, which are your word processors and spreadsheet programs like Microsoft Word, Notebook, and Excel. It also includes web browsers, databases, email, and video photo editing, games, freeware, and simulations. Web applications, blogs, your wikis, podcasts, search engines, social network sites such as Google Plus and Facebook. For these technologies to be able to be used effectively to create a modern and effective learning space, they need to fulfill certain criteria, and these criteria are: access. Can all your students access the technology you're using? If you're using a website such as Google Plus, do all of your students have internet access at home? Are they all able to use a computer? Or will you have to pair your students up? Connecting with the home environment. You need to find out what kind of resources students have available to them in their home environment. If a student doesn't have a computer or internet access, they won't be able to use online Web 2.0 or 3.0 tools to be able to do homework or complete work at home, and they will begin to feel alienated and not included in the school learning environment. Skills. You need to think about the current skill level of your students. If they don't know how to use a computer, they won't be able to open up an internet browser, they won't be able to create a database, they won't be able to stream or share video. If a student is not familiar with a certain resource or technology, then that technology is not suitable to create an enriched learning environment. The skills might even be as simple as, can my student read? Can they write? What's their literacy level? What's their numeracy level? Do they have the basic fundamental skills to be able to be actively involved in the learning environment? It could even be as simple as, do my students know how to use Google+? Do they know how to get to their homepage? Do they know how to navigate through? Do they know how to find certain things on Google+? If we're going to be using Google Plus as a learning space, we need to make sure that our students have the skills available to use the site and be fully immersed in the learning space. And last of all, there is functionality. Does the technology function as it should? Does it function as we want it to? Does it achieve the goals we want it to achieve? We'll start with the entirely theoretical learning space that I've created. It is created on a site called Edmodo. Edmodo has an advantage over the other two online learning spaces, is that it has been specifically created to be an online learning space. It is geared towards teachers being able to communicate with other teachers and other schools to try and find if someone's having the same problem as they are in the classroom, to try and find solutions, to try and find resources. We could just scroll, if you were a teacher on this site, you could just scroll down, effectively free plagiarism checkers. Someone's trying to find one, someone has found one here. Another one of the advantages that Edmodo has is that it allows you to create specific groups and specific sections for different KLAs. It also allows you to create small groups within these. If I want to create a small group inside here to group my students, we will call this group red. Create the group, and there they are. We can then add, we can then rename it, describe it, archive it, delete it. We can also add students to this group, and we could create more groups, different groups for assignments and group work. Edmodo is still very much geared towards the teacher is in charge and the students do the work. The teacher sets the work, the students do it. The teacher is the master and commander, the students sit there and absorb the information and do what they are told. That's not to say this isn't necessarily a bad thing for an online learning space, especially for a primary school online learning space, with such problems nowadays as cyberbullying and this isn't necessarily to say this is a bad thing for an online learning space for a primary school classroom. With cyberbullying being such a rampant problem in schools today, there should be some sort of control and moderation that a teacher and a parent can have. Now, Edmodo allows a teacher and a parent to both moderate and be in control of the learning space. The teacher is in control of what happens, who posts what where, and they can simply delete a post, or they can edit their own posts or edit their students' posts if they find something that's inappropriate for the learning space. And the only way a student can be involved and be active in the learning space is if their parent receives this code here from the teacher via email, and the parent signs both themselves up and the student up to be involved in the site. Thank you, Richard and Rebecca. There are a couple additional files to do with this assessment in this Google Docs folder. Thanks for watching.